Welcome back to Type 40 here for Whovember with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks here. I'm here with Robin Miller, who's a fundraiser, a charity worker, and you're going to tell us about all the things that you get up to and the charity in question, aren't you, Robin?
Yes, let's say you probably won't be able to shut me up after a while.
So let's get started with the most obvious question. Who are you?
Who am I? Yeah. So as I say, I'm Robin. I'm a 41-year-old Glaswegian for my sins. Massive Doctor Who fan, which helps in this wee chat. And someone who, in my spare time, seems to have created another full-time job, which is fundraising for these guys, Children with Cancer UK, who are just a wonderful, wonderful cause. So as I say, it is like a second job, but it's something that I really, really passionately believe in and enjoy doing. And it leads to great things like this and having this chat.
So tell me about Children with Cancer UK then. It's a national charity, clearly, but what kind of work do they do?
So they're a wonderful charity who take a lot of research. Their aim is to effectively eradicate children's cancer and make sure that, you know, this is not an issue anymore. They offer wonderful respite and away days for families that are affected by cancer. Like wonderful circus days, trips down to the coast. Remembering that it's not just the child in question that's affected, it's the family. So it's a wonderful family ethos. And obviously they're a major fundraising organization. So I've formed quite a strong bond with them over the last 10, 11 years. And I've raised about 182 grand for them so far, which is solely because of my belief in what they do. They're such a fantastic team, and everyone there just believes 100% in hitting their goals.
That's an extraordinary amount of money for one man to raise.
It's actually 223, but you know, it's only 182 for them.
Well done.
Thank
so
you.
How does one man raise so much money? What do people challenge you to do?
Do you know, I discovered very early doors that my love of autograph hunting that I've had since I was a kid could be turned into this. So I was doing marathons every year. I was doing events, and you can't just go back to the same people for sponsorship over and over and over again. So my theory is you give them something back, and what better to do than to sell something that they'd want. So I started off with the basic signed photos. Wow, in the days where eBay you couldn't even put pictures on eBay back at the start because there was no digital cameras. So you had to really minutely, describe this little drawing you had or what you had in every little flaw, and it was crazy. And stuff went for peanuts. It took me a year to raise the 4 grand for my first event, and then it's just sort of snowballed. And obviously, autographs and things is a big, big deal now.
So you started, obviously, if you're into geek culture and Doctor Who in particular, you latched onto that autograph hunting side to it, to tracking down the stars, the production personnel, and getting them to sign dedications to yourself or to other people.
No, for these ones, everything is generally undedicated. The guys are quite good. Obviously, celebs are now very aware of the resale market of their signatures. So I'm lucky that my history works now in my favor. But it's all about trying to keep a unique item that anyone could have.
So what happens is that the actors, the stars of these things, of Harry Potter, Doctor Who, and any one of a number of things, because you don't just limit yourself to those 2 franchises, do you? You speak to a lot of people. So all of these people, they make personal appearances, and you speak to the organisers, do you? And you're able to get a little bit of time with them.
There's a mix. There's a mix.
So they see you appear in your hoodie with those colours. You're a recognisable charity. Does some of them know you by face now or by name?
I'm quite fortunate that quite a few do. I can call on a lot of people just to do really nice things for me. In terms of Doctor Who, Mark Bonner's wonderful. I came across Mark the first time when he gave me both of his scripts from The Rebel Flesh and The Almost People. And since then, I mean, that was years ago. Wow. He's just been fantastic in what he donates to me. And of course, his wife, Lucy Gaskell, being in Blink as well, helps. So I've got a lot of people that do recognise me. The photo you've seen of me and Shooty, I saw him twice a year apart at the BAFTA Scotland Awards. And yeah, that was the first one. When I was the only person outside that awards, because it was during COVID. And a year down the line, he somehow recognized me and he was chatting away. And it's really nice when they remember that, because you see that wee chat there. That candid one is one of the press took that photo, and he was just such a genuine person that knew exactly what I was doing. And that's nice. It helps. It really builds your reputation and the ability to do something fantastic for the charity.
So you mentioned the fact that you've had Mark Bonner, for a number of years helping you with this too. How long have you been doing it? When exactly did this all start for you? When did it become a hobby into this charitable effort?
So my first event was in 2005. It wasn't with these guys; it was with Cancer Research UK, and I did the iconic Machu Picchu trek, which was just a mind-blowing experience.
So what is that? What's that? I've never heard of this.
Machu Picchu in Peru, one of the new 7 wonders of the world. So it's it's an old Incan village, town. It's amazing. And you trek through. We did 6 days trekking through Peru, up through the Andes. So high I got altitude sickness. It was quite. It was a fairly intensive.
It does sound quite hazardous. So these can be not exactly dangerous things that you put yourself through, but things that can push people physically and mentally. Maybe.
I think that's the idea. Yeah, you have to do something that pushes yourself. That's why people will support you more. Because like we were talking before about the people I meet, I also send a lot of letters out, and a lot of requests via agents and try and engage with people, to get stuff that way. Because sadly, the Scottish convention game and personal appearances isn't as strong as down south.
Oh, okay.
So you have to really work hard at it, to source items, and being able to say, I've done this, I've done that. Check out this on my Instagram. Look at my Twitter feed. And you can see this history. Those challenges are what drives people to support you even more, rather than just being that person that writes, "Hi, I want to raise money for charity. Please help."
They contribute. They offer one-off, kind of bespoke items, I gather. Yeah. So it isn't just their signatures, is it, that people offer up to the charity to be auctioned off to raise funds?
So that's quite down to me. So if you just write normally and say, or you approach someone, they'll just give you a signed photo, the standard basics. Whereas I like to explore it a wee further. I've got my wee notes next to me to remind me of the things I've done, over the years.
Yeah. Give us a hit list. Some of Robin Miller's greatest hits.
Oh, greatest hits, geez. I'm very, very proud of my celebrity Christmas card auctions that I ran for about 7-8 years. And it was something that no one had ever thought of. And for some reason, no one has cottoned on to. If you're listening to this, don't copy it. It's mine. But getting celebrities to sign Christmas cards as a gift, or something to someone is amazing, and it always works. For years, it was raising thousands of pounds, just in the space of the few weeks running up to Christmas. I've got a few on just now, but I've sort of stepped that back a wee bit as I look at different areas. But that was a good one. The early doors with what I called the TARDIS project was a wonderful set of doodles of different interpretations of the TARDIS. And that's what started me out in this, really, and thinking of the different ideas. So I had cast, crew, just celebrities in general. I remember back at the time, Georgia Moffat sent me a lovely pink TARDIS, drawing, and I just thought that's really nice. Yeah. It's different. It's and that was what I wanted. So I wanted people to give me their idea.
One-offs, yeah,
exactly. And I don't care if it's a little box with police written at the top of it, or it's a masterpiece. It's just really, really nice to have those different pieces. So that's the sort of thing that I sort of look at doing, so that people will come back, to see what I've got. And keep on wanting to come back or ask me, can you find that? Can you do that?
So this isn't a finite thing then. You haven't got a set period of time in which you do this, say between now and Christmas. This is an ongoing campaign that you're running, and new items can come up on your social medias for auction on a regular basis.
Yeah, so stuff will appear in my social media if I really like it. You know, if it's something flashy, it will pop up there.
Yeah.
My eBay channel's always running. Links are on, you know, my social media, you know, for that. And there's generally always something kicking there. You know, there's a lot of money, you know, coming in, which is fantastic. I think I'm already about 3.5 grand in the last month. Helped by some really wonderful items, including some lovely Doctor Who ones. So you never know what's going to come up. I mean, I'm sitting next to me. I'll show you this so you can see it, with Derek Riddle's production scripts from Tooth and Claw, which is like really nice. And if you think how long ago that aired,
17 years ago.
Exactly right. Also David Tennant's first series, you know, and you know, really early stuff. And I might have badgered him a wee bit, you know, over the years. You know, go back to him and go, because he said, you know, I might have that somewhere. And sure enough, he came up with it not too long ago. And that landed. So that's a lovely thing. And you know, as a fan, I love reading these and looking through them, and you see the wee tweaks and the wee differences. If you get a read through draft, or you know, rather than the final version.
I can only imagine the names that must be in your list of contacts, in your email list.
My email list is quite strong. It's nice. A lot of it's been through the years of just social media chancing, and I'm lucky I've formed a lot of connections with people before social media got a wee bit out of control, you know, and people stopped responding to everything. So that's really helped. Nowadays it's quite tough. I remember sitting watching like old episodes, like as they aired, maybe even as recently as 6-7 years ago, and thinking, right, I can reach out to that person right now, you know, and they'll come back to me, and they would. Nowadays, excuse me, a little bit harder. And you've got to really, really work for what you've got.
You think people get just deluged with individuals trying to contact them?
And I always appreciate if someone comes to me and says, I do my own thing, I've got this, I've given all this stuff to someone, you know, and that's fantastic. You ask the question, and if someone says no, then that's life. But yeah,
because now you mention it, Mark and Lucy, they both do a lot for charity on their own terms, don't they?
If you've followed their Instagram feed over the last month or so, and their 1.7 a day effort with their rather fantastic different ways of doing it. And if excuse me, if you haven't checked it, anyone go and look at it. It's the best.
Inspirational.
It's wonderful. I've got so much time for those two. And I've never met Lucy, but I've met Mark a couple of times when he's been up here. And the man just is a prime example of how I think celebrities should be. So
you've been a Doctor Who fan for a number of years, all your life. When did you first start watching the show?
I'm a new Who originally, so I can remember sitting down and.
There are no wrong answers, Robin. There are no wrong answers.
I was born in 82, so I'm in that wee middle gap, you know, where you just didn't really get the old stuff. And I can still remember sitting down and living in London at the time, and the excitement as Rose came on, and just thinking, this is wow. And in fact, on my telly, World War III is playing just now, you know, in the background, because I'm rewatching series 1. And yeah, I think it's something that's followed me over the last based on 20 years, hasn't it?
So when you look back at these old episodes and you think about this wonderful show and the family that includes the cast members and the community, those of us who follow it, was this a kind of entry-level thing for you? So when you saw how that dynamic works between the people who watch it, yourself included, and the show and those who make it, did that open the door, or was it something where you just thought, well, I wonder if these people are approachable, or was it something that the warmth of the Doctor Who community just, you know what, I think people are going to love this, I'm going to do it? Did you really have to put yourself out there?
I think early doors, I did have to push myself, but it's become very, very obvious over the years that community spirit is there. I can't give a better example than a name you might not know, Abby Collins, who was stunt coordinator on all of Graham Harper's new series episodes. And she personifies that whole just feeling around the show. At one stage, she sent me 2 massive boxes, couriered them up to my house, including every Sarah Jane Adventure script from her production time. She gifted me, I've had most of her scripts through my door from Doctor Who now, including the one that she had herself that David Tennant signed for her, which was a very, very kind donation. Because she worked in some really good episodes, you know, Talking Journey's End, Stolen Earth, like the key points.
Yeah.
And through her, for example, that community went wider because she's kind enough to reach out to other people for me.
People will vouch for you.
Yeah. Yes, she will pass on, and she, you know, in that way, and is kind enough, much in the way Mark does, you know, for me with certain people. I mean, Abby went for lunch with Graham Harper, and the next thing I knew, I was told it was coming in advance, but in came Graham's script from the Waters of Mars, and it was every single page was annotated. It was the most amazing thing I've seen in my life. You know, as a Who fan, that it was just like, wow.
It was like seeing inside the mind of the great Graham Harper, one of the truly fantastic directors of Doctor Who history.
Exactly. And it's just like, what is, you can't really process that, you know, as you're looking at it and you're like, do I have to sell this? Yes. But I know that it's in the hands of a very, very happy fan, you know, and raise some fabulous money for the charity. So that is down to that community spirit you're talking about, because people, as well as on that side with the donations, you've got people like yourself, you've got the people buying from me, our mutual friend that put us in touch. You know, that all comes from a love of what we're doing. And it all comes through that show.
Let's take a look at some of your pictures now so that people can get an idea of just some of the connections that you've made. This is you with Robert Glenister, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was actually that was the night before I did my 100k ultra. Along the banks of the Thames, and I was out rather late, and they were still refusing to sign. So that's the back end of one of the Harold Pinter Theatre in London, where he was appearing with Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
and she was obviously blocked off from signing, and we were told no one's signing at all. So I sort of hightailed it up the road after Robert, and he recognised, he knew who I was once I explained what I was doing. Because he signed quite a few things for me. So I was quite chuffed to get that. Not least because I grew up watching him in Hustle as well. So it was a nice one.
Yeah, fabulous actor. To me, he'll always be Salatine from The Caves of Androzani, another Graham Harper connection. But I just think it's a really amusing picture, the idea of these people clocking off work. Then they pay at the back door, and then you run up to them. Yeah, you run up to them in your bright red hoodie, all smiles, and can you do this? Can you do that? And yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I've noticed as well, we've got you here with Chris Barry from Red Dwarf too.
Yeah, so that was a very recent one. That was Glasgow Comic-Con a few months ago. That photo was actually the only thing I paid for at that Comic-Con, because I wasn't missing out on the chance of getting a photo with him. But all the other guests at that event, once the event organisers had cleared it, were happy to sign. And Chris did sign a bunch of stuff for free for me that day as well. And again, I think once I told him what I was doing, he said, you're the chap from Scotland that writes to me all the time. So, you know, so yeah, it's obviously it's memorable for them. Today, that was a wee promo just from our auctions restarting, which it was delightful to do. And he's a lovely man, Chris. Very, very much enjoyed meeting him.
Who are these two ladies here? And what's all this? What's all this?
Right. Okay. So you've got Maureen Beattie on your right there. Who of course appeared in Last Christmas. On the left is a fabulous Scottish actress called Maureen Carr, who is best known up here for appearances in our show Still Game, which might not have made it your way.
No, it has. It is very popular down here. Yeah, I've never seen it myself, but it's got a massive following for the people who know it and love it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I know there's a wee Still Game enclave in Corby, down in Cumbria, which is lovely. And in fact, there's a replica, sort of a bar named after the Klansman in the show there, and a lot of my signed items are on the walls framed because the owners bought them all from me. So yeah, the reason you're looking and you're wondering why there's a bunch of Guinness posters is because her character, Edith in the show, is famous for catchphrases "pint of Guinness." So last time I did a bunch of those, they sold really, really well. So that was only a few weeks ago, and she was delightful as always. And then we added other Maureen Beattie just to some of the multi-signs
Very nice.
Doctor Who items you see that I've been working on for quite a while.
I recognise, well, this goes to show off when I see it, I recognise Colin Baker's signature there in white.
It is the huge one, yes. Colin is the Doctor. He can sign how he wants and where he wants.
I couldn't agree more. Here's one of you with Mandip Gill.
Yes.
So what was going on here? Because this looks like a very special item, a very particular item.
Which one? You look at the one on the right, the script page. Yeah, that script page is actually currently off trying to get a final signature on it from Steve Sproul. I am hoping that he will add number 6 to that page. But that was a Comic-Con event, and his Mandip's agent were very kind to set that up for me and let me go and speak to her. At an event like that where they're charging, I think she was charging 35 quid a signature. She sat and did 10, 12 for me, no questions asked, and was an absolutely lovely person. Understood what I was doing, had checked out what I was doing, was asking questions. And I just think that's really nice.
This is very specifically a page from a particular episode. And so in this instance, you've approached cast members of that episode to sign a page from the script for the matches.
So all of those, apart from Mandip, they've been sent through the post and taken a wee bit of time and a bit of risking, because once it goes out in the mail, you never know if it will come back. So that's been a long game, that one. But it is a risk, and I think maybe 5-6 years ago, about 80-85% of the stuff would come back. Now it's down to about 50. So it's a bit, as I say, it's a long game, but it's worth it for what does come through the doors.
A triumph. So do you have a hit list of people that you want to get in touch with, or people who if you have these sort of a wish list of people who you think, I'd love to get something from this person, that person?
I mean, the obvious dream is A-list, and I operate just below that A-list level, because it's near on impossible.
Because with what you were saying about where you're located as well, I suppose you have to pick your battles. Think, okay, so I look at a map, think, okay, that person and that person and that person is going to be there at that location at that time. I'll go and I'll take this and that and that and that. Is organisation very important to what you do?
Yeah, to get stuff, you have to really think it out, and it is tough balancing it around a job, and trying to figure things out. I've done many days. I remember standing for 9 hours outside Kylie Minogue's hotel in the West End, and she came out and didn't sign. And you're just like, and you're like, that's her right. That's how it works. But it's frustrating, and you're like, and that would have been an absolute cracker to get. So you do get the chance to get the big guns, but you have to think about it. Is it worth it? What are the chances? And you will have those times where you curse yourself for not going out, because you'll be like, I could have got that. I'm currently plotting next weekend. It's the combination. So the BAFTA Scotland Awards are on next Sunday. So I will be at that without a shadow of a doubt. There is a good nomination list, and normally they'll announce a good set of guest presenters. Peter Capaldi is in town on, on Saturday night, doing a concert. And again, Peter's one of the ones who remembers what I do. He's drawn, I'll need to find you a picture. He's drawn some wonderful artworks for me. Even because he was trained at the School of Art up here. And he, back in the day before he became the Doctor, I remember he sent me a drawing. It was called Malcolm Sucker. So it was a thick of it Dalek crossover. But he's done some wonderful watercolors for me. And when he sees me at the events, he saw me, last year at the BAFTAs. I'm the only person he was signing for without dedicating. He did a few for me because he knew what I was doing. And that's that community and that support. So hopefully it'll be worth a wee trek about next weekend and a long couple of days.
Well, best of luck with that. I would imagine that they know exactly who you are, and it sounds like they're sympathetic.
Well, the good ones are, yes. You've got to do some quick explaining sometimes, and see what you can get.
Obviously, we'll put all the links to all the social medias and the website for Children with Cancer UK. All of that will be in the description to the video. But just to tease people a little more, what have you got up for auction at the moment? Give us 2 or 3 items that you think may tempt people, may get their juices flowing.
What have we got? Well, that script from Derek Riddle's up for grabs just now, which is a nice one. It's got his re-annotations in it. It's very well used, very well worn, and it's about as authentic an item as you can get. I think I've got a wee stack next to me. I'm thinking that's one of Derek Riddle's artworks. That's coming soon.
Oh, that's
quite
great.
nice. I mean, and that's what you call a really cool item of when you say to someone, "Can you draw something tooth and claw, please?" You know, and he's actually taking you literally. What else is going to come? What we got? We've got a canvas from Tony Curran.
Wow, Vincent himself.
Yes, who I bumped into outside football match up here. He's a huge Celtic fan, so you can normally find him when he's in town at Celtic. I'm not going to say he'd had a few drinks in hospitality, but he was certainly quite many. So my TARDIS is quite unique. So there's things like that, and then I have just sold this one, but don't know if you saw it. This is if you can see it, that is a Dennis the Menace Doctor Who theme, done by Nigel Parkinson, who is the official Dennis the Menace artist for the Beano. So yeah. There's always loads of stuff. I mean, I can guarantee there will always be Doctor Who stuff sitting there, and it will be unique like that. You get your standard stuff. There'll be signed photos, signed cards, you name it. But there's always stuff with that wee twist that will get the juices flowing for the fan.
Yeah. So obviously it's the 60th anniversary year of Doctor Who at the moment, and the entire event, Whovember, is at last with us. It's very much a storm that's been brewing all year. But what have you got coming up in your fundraising over the next 3 to 4 months into 2024? Have you got something more audacious planned, or any particular marathons or stunts that you're going to pull off?
I'm currently trying to decide on my next event, which will be another the 100k ultras. So I've done that one in the Thames we spoke about. The Just Giving link that you've got pinged up is the one that I did for London to Brighton earlier this year, which was possibly one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. I am thinking about taking that on again, because I feel like I can do better and really, enjoy that day. But I think definitely whatever I do, it's going to be one of those big 100k events. As I said earlier, that gets the attention. That's people going, wow, you're doing what now? Saying you're walking 100k, people go, but then you say you're walking London to Brighton, they go, pardon? Because in their head, they're like, woof, and things like that really grab the attention. But it's always going to be exciting. I don't think I'll stop. People keep on saying, when are you going to stop? And I'm like, I've tried to take breaks, I've tried to stop, and then you miss it. And you miss being able to make that difference. So
if people want to make a difference at this website address we've got here at www.justgiving.com/Robin does another ultra. So if they head over there, can they just donate direct, or
that's a straight Just Giving donation page? It goes straight to the charity. You can gift aid through that. There's the wee tagline that says it's secure. I always joke that you won't be chased by hordes of rampaging wildebeest, all sorts of little daft things. But it's a direct link to the charity, and the money will register against my account, obviously, as a donation, and the charity will receive it pretty much immediately. The fans out there, the supporters, they all seem to like it, and that's the important thing. And as long as I can keep on making a difference.
So tell them again, what do Children with Cancer UK? What do they do?
I say they are that wonderful charity who carry out constant research. They provide grants through their fundraising to medical professionals to find treatment, to find a cure for cancer. That's the dream for everyone, in terms of a cancer charity. I've been down in the office down there as well, working with them, and you just see that fabulous desire running through the whole team, without fail, and they all want to make that difference.
Thank you for your time, Robin. We just wish you all the best for the rest of 2023 and continued success in all your efforts for as long as you do keep on doing this. Check out the links to everything that Robin's got going on in the description to this video, and you can find out more about Children with Cancer UK too. If you head over to their website, more from Type 40 for Whovember coming up. Of course, please like this video, share and subscribe, and pass it along to people who you feel may be interested in everything that Robin's doing. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.